Did Apple kill your business? I'm seeing a lot of people talking about stuff on Twitter today, and I really want to address this because there is a big difference between what Apple is doing to push privacy, which might also be a customer acquisition play, which 100% could be what's going on, and your business struggling with, especially with the efforts on Facebook marketing and the digital e-com space. So let's break down the two different things here. Number one, what Apple is doing is it has made it harder for Facebook to track individuals' behavior across multiple platforms and to see their actions in a way that we've gotten too incredibly used to, built on the back of what made Facebook have an unfair advantage in the marketplace. What Facebook did is say, instead of letting you completely cripple our business model, we're going to pivot the way that we track. Now, Apple is getting a lot of heat for doing this, but the writing was already on the wall for this because we already knew before that the cookie was going to be deprecated. The idea of this tracking thing that's going around and seeing everybody is already out the door. Now, if Google had done that before Apple made the iOS 14 switch, we'd all talking about, did Google put my business, kill your business? The honest truth is neither of them did. And your business is not dead. There is absolutely a path for you to be completely successful. What really happened here was Facebook was telling you what it needed from you for a long time. It needed you to respect their business model. It needed you to work on your business model, and it needed you to put the primary concern as the customer experience on the platform, the CX. Where people are struggling the most is where they took direction that went away from that. First off, Facebook ads, any digital marketing, but especially Facebook ads, is designed at its core to amplify the impact of a successful business model. If you have a good business model and you are attracting good attention, Facebook can be used to amplify that. If you have a bad business model, Facebook can absolutely be used to amplify letting people know that your business sucks. Now, you might have a really good product and you might be a really good person, but if your business model isn't set up for success, then you're going to struggle, specifically on digital marketing, if it's not set up for a robust long-term growth model. Now, here's where the real big difference comes in. I did a long live yesterday, nearly an hour, talking about how data came to be at the core of how Facebook functioned. Its unfair advantage in the marketplace with conversion campaigns, as well as the Power 5, and now with iOS 14. And the big thing here is too many people got successful on the back of conversion campaigns and never paid attention to what Facebook was saying since 2015, since 2017, 2018, last year, and this year. Facebook has always been telling you what it needs. The problem is there are basically three paths people have gone down. Number one, they got successful before Power 5 came out, and they refused to change. These are a lot of what I consider low integrity, predatory teachers have been using for years. These are the folks like the person that started this thread that I'm really going after, and in this case, for instance, David, but also Andrew, Depeche, and Savannah, and Andrew, and Nick, and the other Nick, and Taylor, all of these folks. The problem is they, number one, never listen to what Facebook told them that they want. Number two, they consistently spent more time trying to teach people how to disrespect Facebook and build on the back of models for business that were not designed to be successful without Facebook. And three, they were teaching people something that was a direct liability to their success. Now, I was saying that back in 2017, and Tim and all of them. There's a reason why they consistently tried to block me from things. They called me a troll. They hated on what I was saying. And now they're literally reciting the things that I've said, or they're taking the other route, which is claiming victimhood. So that's path number one. You got successful before this system existed, or at the beginning of this system, and then refused to evolve, change, or teach people better decision making, which directly means that your success and failure, if you listened to them, is, in my opinion, directly dependent on their complete disrespect for you. In which case, fuck them because they know better. Second, there are people that have come in since 2018, 2019 that learned in a space where they may have only ever learned from these individuals. So they're second generation or potentially third generation buyers that have only ever learned incorrectly. And they were able to be successful with that because, like we talked about yesterday, the rate of the growth of the skill set of Facebook's algorithm grew faster than the depreciation of the value of the inventory. Therefore, you could still run a bad business at a profit. But what have we seen in the last few years? The ability for Facebook to be stable, for it to be reliable and scalable and trustworthy for the individuals that have not aligned themselves with what Facebook had to say has been struggling more and more and more. The problem here is folks who, through potentially no fault of their own, taught others to fail. This is, first group of folks is predatory, willful neglect. The second group, through no fault of their own, potentially, is ignorance. And that's not a slight. If you don't know that you don't know something, that is not a slight against you. That is quite literally just sometimes you don't know better because nobody ever took the time to tell you. Now, I've been telling this for years, but the powers that be in a lot of places have specifically tried to take folks that are saying what I'm saying, which is basically repeating what we've been learning at Facebook, and trying to shut that down because they say, we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to be unhappy. We don't want to teach people to be successful. We don't want them to not rely on us. We're going to rely on bullshit attribution models like 28-day click, 1-day view, and talk about delayed attribution as like a legitimate thing, which, by the way, nobody's fucking talking about this year because it's absolute bullshit and because you don't have the data set to actually prove that lie anymore, even though you could absolutely get wicked reports or high roast or one of these other scammy things that you're throwing on top of your reporting system to, like, I'm sorry, they're not scamming, but a way to give you the data to scam your customers, your clients, yourself. What we're getting at here is the second group of people didn't know that what they were doing was passing off bad information. They were ignorant of the truth because the people that taught them honestly were assholes. 100%, I'll say that. 100% assholes. And there is suffering and struggle and people having to close their business, people having to fire individuals or give up on their dreams because of that first group of people. And that second group of people amplified them. Now, there is some blame to be placed on the person that recites bad information, but you have to also have compassion. If somebody doesn't know that what they're doing is reciting bad information, you cannot hold them completely accountable for it. I would say it's the responsibility of somebody that is teaching to validate things. But if you're existing in an ecosystem where there's a whole bunch of low integrity, predatory players all patting each other on the back while complaining about stuff and setting people up for failure, you might never be able to leave that echo chamber and realize how much these people are setting you up to fail. And then we have the third group, folks that did pay attention, or folks that stumbled into it, or folks that just recently started and were like, well, why am I going to do all this other stuff? It tells me I shouldn't do that. Or folks that were able to rise above it or see the writing on the wall a long time ago. Folks that have a good business model, that have been feeding Facebook what they need, and the folks that are actually scaling and doing really well right now. I've got students around the world that are doing that right now. Clients I've been working with for years that maybe their Facebook numbers don't look as good as they used to, but their business is a lot better than it was. And there's a big consistent point here. Apple didn't kill your business. Google isn't killing your business when they deprecate the Pixel next year. What is killing your business is three things. Number one, a lack of an improvement on the business model. If you do not improve your business model, if you are not allowing yourself to get more value out of your customers, if you are not finding a way to have a better relationship with them, to acquire more of them more efficiently and get more out of them building strong relationships in a brand, you are going to suffer. And somebody that does what you're doing but prioritizes that is going to beat you. Flat out, that is the truth. It has been the truth since the beginning of business. Second, if you do not pay attention to what you are supposed to do, what your business partners are asking from you, if you are, in effect, a bad business partner, do not be surprised or unhappy or shocked or angry when your ability to succeed in business with partnership with them becomes more difficult. Facebook has been directly saying, we want you to design good content. We want you to let us make the decisions. And we want you to rely on us to drive you consistent users, because their number one objective is a consistent and positive user experience for their users. If you do not place that as a priority on how you're designing things, what you are doing is telling Facebook to give you money, telling it to go fuck itself, and then getting upset when it doesn't work. Last thing, you have to invest in the back end of your business. And this isn't just business model, but this is being less reliant on one channel to bring in everything. Now, Facebook is still the absolute best opportunity 90% of people have to scale their business. I fully believe in that. And I've seen we're now in, we're in the coming through the third purge of Facebook ads. And what we're going to see over the next few years is a massive opportunity for a ton of people. If they embrace creative and the customer experience, and they buy into good business models and data and do all of the things that Facebook has been asking them to do for 5 years now, they're going to be ridiculously successful. And the folks that sit here and still try to preach interest groups and forcing bidding models and complaining about, customer acquisition costs and all of these things that have nothing to do with Facebook, they're going to die. This isn't subjective opinion about something. This is a trend that we've seen year after year after year, and not just on Facebook. Before that, it was with Google. Before that, it was with email. Before that, it was with television. This is something that has been happening for at least decades. If you do not evolve to meet the market needs and to be a good player in the marketplace, you are going to fail. Let's take it all the way back to television and radio. If you're making an ad that nobody wants to see, do you think that spending more and more money on that ad, let's put it this way, if you just wrote a television commercial that makes people want to change the channel, do you think that you're going to be able to find television stations to run your ad? The answer is probably yes, but they're going to charge you more and more and more money for that inventory. Why do you think Facebook is any different? It's the exact same thing. If you are disrespecting their business model, they're going to charge you more and more money to be successful. So the bottom line here, and I'll leave it with this, there is an easy path out of this. Easy being, we know what it is. It's not turnkey, it's not simple, but we know what it is. You have to be testing your creative at broad. You have to think of Facebook as the front end of a good business model that allows you to attract a volume of consistent quality users to your site. And then after the click, take advantage of that attention and information and work on your relationships with your customer. You're going to have to figure out a way, and we know this path, to design your business efforts with your partner, in this case, Facebook, to give Facebook what they want, your business partner what they want. You have to be a good, high integrity partner. The 3 red flags that I'm going to give you, if anybody says any of these things, you can immediately tell them to go fuck themselves. Take any money that you're giving them away and find somebody that disagrees with it. Number 1, if somebody says the path forward is to make your ad account more complex, to chase audiences, fuck them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're setting you up for failure tomorrow for a small win today. That's not negotiable. That's not a question. That's not something that's up for debate. That is just a cold, hard fact. Second, if somebody tells you that the solution to your problem is you just need to discount your products and get more and more customers into your business, understand that what they're doing is they're trying to make Facebook look good. But discounting your products will fundamentally cripple your long-term ability to grow as a brand. You're not going to be able to fulfill those orders, especially in Black Friday. You might not even be able to fulfill the orders that you would normally get, much less the ones that you're acquiring at a lower profit margin at a higher volume while paying more money for the inventory. And then what's going to happen? People will spend money for you. They clicked on your Facebook ad. They gave you money. You didn't deliver. What is Facebook going to do? And say, well, this advertiser can't deliver. They're stealing money and people are unhappy. You know what? Fuck them. They can't advertise anymore. If somebody's teaching you how to do that right now and says that the number one way for you to be successful over the next 30 days, 90 days is to discount your product at scale, that person is setting you up for crippling failure. You might not even be able to advertise next year. And lastly, if somebody says that Facebook is telling me to do this thing, but that's not what we're going to do, we're going to hack it, that person is setting you up for failure. Hacking the system. Let me put it like this. You are not smarter than the system. The person teaching you is not smarter than the system. The system is looking at billions of users on millions of websites 24 hours a day with a machine learning that has aggregated trillions and trillions and trillions of data points designed by thousands of engineers much smarter than you or me. It is doing this in real time and it is learning. At best, if you are trying to hack it, what you are doing is you are trying to be reactionary to predict the future with a unit economic that is going to be less and less desirable for you over time. You're going to pay more and more money, work harder and harder to get worse and worse results, and eventually make it so difficult that you're not even going to be able to advertise on the platform to begin with, because Facebook is seeing you as trying to cheat them and be a low integrity player. Your other option is to learn from somebody or to adopt a strategy that objectively is the opposite of that teaches you how to give people a good estimated action rate, that teaches you how to measure so that you don't give a damn about what the attribution from Facebook is, because bottom-up attribution, who gets credit for the sale, is a fucking lie brought on by large advertising agencies decades ago because they had the information and because they wanted to justify more spend. I know. I was a supervisor at those ad agencies. I ran those agencies. I was the person setting up that lie. So here's the thing. You need to learn from somebody that is going to teach you how to measure and how Facebook works functionally, that has direct ties to the engineering department and the product team and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of data. Number two, you need to learn from somebody that's going to teach you to test for estimated action rates so that you can be a high integrity partner to Facebook. And number three, you need to work with somebody that's going to teach you how to test and evaluate your business model and your strategy for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 2 years. Because what ultimately you want to do is have Facebook be a consistent and reliable front end to a successful business, that you are able to trust Facebook to do its job and deliver you a consistent volume of similar customers so that you can build what happens after the click. I'm saying all of that because it's what you should be doing. I'm also saying that because that's what I've been teaching for years. If you want to learn that from me, you absolutely can. That's what my Facebook Ads MBA program is completely set up to do. If you want to have the ability of even running ads on Facebook when Google deprecates the Pixel next year and this Apple thing looks like a fucking speed bump, let me know. If you are sick and tired of trying to chase down the next hack, or you've been spending too much money on, Common Thread Collective Slack group, or Andrew Foxwell's course of talking to a whole bunch of other people that have no fucking clue what they're talking about, bloviating against themselves about problems that they don't understand, that they created themselves and are completely solvable as long as they just started to treat Facebook as a partner that they would treat with integrity, let me know. If you don't know how to run your business with Facebook running at a loss because you don't understand how to put the entire metrics down and you want to build your business model, make Facebook a reliable piece, let me know. These are things that I've taught to people around the world for years. These are things that you deserve to know. And I'm not saying that you just need to learn it from me, but what I'm saying is, if you are learning from somebody else, if you're giving somebody else space in your brain, if they are living in your head and they're giving you advice that directly opposes those values, that person's number one objective is built around two simple pieces. Number one, they don't give a fuck about you. Number two, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's one of those two. Either way, they don't deserve your time. They don't deserve your money. And if you listen to them and you fail, at some point, you are no longer that person in the second group that we were talking about that is just wandering through the world ignorant because they weren't told. If you've heard this, you've heard a message to get out of it. And that's the bottom line. So with that being said, happy Sunday. I hope you're doing well. If you're watching this on Twitter, I'm going through this thread and I'm sure David will block me again. Because people don't like me saying, hey, look, the reason people are suffering is because they're listening to your shit advice. But I don't care. I want people to be successful and happy. And if I'm going to be the bad guy by trying to put people's happiness and success over these low integrity players' ego, then fuck them. I've been a very nice person on Twitter for a few bit, and it's been good. But there's a big difference right now in trying to make people happy and trying to make people feel good, and then allowing other folks to be the reason that dreams are dying, businesses are going out, and folks have to give up on changing their future. That's the bottom line. I'm here because my why is your success. Because I'm sick and fucking tired of these people setting themselves up, setting other people up for abject failure. And they know it. Bottom line is, these people have been listening to me for years. And they're still preaching the same shit. And it's either because A, they don't believe me, in which case they're basically saying Facebook is complete bullshit, and while they still ultimately repeat what I have to say years later, or B, they don't care. And what that really means is they don't care about you, because taking advantage of you is a better business model than giving a fuck about you. Either way, this is a choice that you have to make. If you want to see the other side of things, you want to have a conversation with me on how to change this because you're sick and fucking tired of paying money to people that don't give a fuck about you and their advice is tanking your business, let me know. Until then, I'll see you all later. Best of luck to you and enjoy the week. See you on the internet.